Hello and welcome back to Sacred Vapes, channel that aims to bring you the views and experiences of products in the market today, brought to you by an average vapor. Now this week I'm going to start off with something that I did begin last week. If you remember back on the first video last Saturday, I brought you a tank. Today I'm going to bring you the mod to go with it. It's this, the Voopoo Alpha Zip. Now Voopoo, as I mentioned last week, are starting to release a lot of products. I think there's about 4 or 5 that they're bringing out within a short space of time. Now, there is a few different interesting ideas, but this one is the one that stands out the most. It's a completely different mod design than what we're used to from Voopoo, at least from the main series, which is where the main focus seems to be. But is it noticeable enough to perhaps be an option for you? Before we find out, let's give her a vape. First and foremost, as always, we'll start with what you get in the box. Now, that's the packaging design. First thing I'll point out is how different it is to the drag design. Well, to be honest, most of the Voopoo packaging has been universal. So this is a little bit of a step away from their comfort zone. So yeah, on the back you get warnings, your content and whatnot, social media there, and you get a scratch code as well. So we'll get her open now. First and foremost, you get the mod in one of these plastic bags. Seems to be more common nowadays. You get a little envelope with instruction manual and warning cards. As you can see, we get this open now, and underneath you have the tank, you have spare glass and all the rest, and you get the 2 coils like I mentioned last week, and you get a USB cable. So that's everything you get in this. So let's get talking about the mod. Obviously I'm not going to talk about the tank because I've already talked about it once, so we'll focus on the mod itself. Now the mod is a dual 18650 battery with magnetic battery back. As you can see, dual 18650s, magnetic door. Quickly show you. Snaps into place. The mod itself, on top, I'd say that's about 25mm, 26 at the most, before you start to get overhang. It has front fire button with the little cross on it, as you can see. You get your screen, 2 big navigational buttons, and USB port. And that's about it. When you get a battery ribbon inside the mod. So we'll get into the menu system now. Make sure it's the right way. And 5 clicks turns it off. 5 clicks turns it on. You can see, let me just see if I can focus this in a bit more. There we go. Now 3 clicks takes you into the menu, and so you can see you've got wattage, resistance, volts and seconds of the puff, as well as the battery indicators. Get it back into focus again. So 3 clicks takes you into the menu. Now it just takes you to the fit options. Now to explain the fit options, 0, is there a 0? Yeah. 0, 2 and 3. Now 0 is for your cooler vapes. The flavour 2 is for flavour, and 3 is for clouds. Now the way they work in essence is that it's rather than, they're kind of like preheat settings, but instead of preheat they're actually set wattages. So I don't know the exact amount, but I'm guessing it's going to be about 45 watts to 50 watts for the low power one, the 0. The 2 is going to be around, I don't know, 65 watts, and then the cloud one is going to be pushing about 75 to 80 watts. It's designed for the U-Force T2, but I'm guessing they'll say that it's for this tank as well. But anyway, back into this. Get her up. Now 3 clicks again. Take you into temperature control. So you have stainless steel, nickel, titanium, and then just pick one, and then 3 clicks again after that will take you back to wattage. And that's about it for the mod. So the main thing is, and I will mention as well, it is gene chip powered, much like Voopoo's other devices. So straight away, you've got to ask the question, which one's going to be better for you? Is it going to be the drag, or is it going to be the Alpha Zip? It's a very interesting thing to weigh up. So we'll get into the pros and cons of it now. Now the first pro for me is going to be the body of this. It's fully metallic. It's compared to something like the drag, which is more plastic. This is fully metallic, and it is heavy, and you know, I won't lie to you, it is a much heavier device, especially with this tank on top. But you can tell it weighs a ton, but it could take a blow or two. You know, you could drop it and the door might come off, but it's going to survive. You know, plus the kind of brushed stainless steel design, you know, it's not as much a fingerprint magnet as I thought it would be. And again, there's no paint to then scratch off. You know, these panels, really, really nice. You can see, these are kind of like a fingerprint magnet, as the camera might be picking up. But just quick wipe of them and you'll clean them up. So yeah, really like the body of it. I really like the design. That's another pro. If you look at the way that curves it out for the fire button, so it sits nice and comfortable in your hand, you know, with your finger resting on the fire button. So yeah, big pro for that. Next pro for me is going to be the magnetic door. I mean, one of the big complaints with the Drag 2 was that the magnetic back actually moved in the hand. Now this does have that same issue, if you can hear. But the easy fix for me that I found is if you put the battery ribbon out, snap that back into place, there's no movement whatsoever. So rather than completely fix the door, they've just implemented that, which is it's going to be subjective to some people, that, but I think it's good, the fact that it completely fixes the issue. At least there's some sort of workaround there. Next pro, I think a lot of people are going to be asking about this. There is no gap whatsoever on the 510 plate, so that's a pro. Next pro is going to be the gene chip. The gene chip works just as well as you would expect. A couple of the 30Qs that I've been using in this, you will last well over a day. You know, you're coming up to a day and a half before you have to recharge them, which again, you know, it's absolutely fantastic. It's top end of this sort of range of mods. It's really responsive, really quick, as you can hear. I'd say, yeah, everything just works really well the way you would expect the gene chip to do it. Now, next pro for me is going to be the fact that it comes with the new tank rather than the old one, mainly because it's a good way of getting the tank out. That's the only mention I'm going to say of it. But yeah, really like that fact. The fact it doesn't say drag. You know, I don't know about yourself, but I absolutely love the drag mods, but I don't like the fact it says drag across the side. So again, it's a bit pro that they've done away with that idea. You know, they could have wrote zip on the side of it, and there's no resin either. Absolutely no resin. So I really like this design. There's also a cross design as well. So yeah, that kind of, as quick as that was, it kind of covers pretty much everything. It performs really well. It's built fantastically. You know, it feels good in the hand. So we'll get on to the cons now with this. And the first con I'm going to say, these are going to be subjective, mainly because it's just down to yourselves whether you would like it as a pro or as a con. First one is going to be the weight. It is heavier than a drag, so this is going to weigh you down a little bit more. Next con for me is going to be, it's a slow startup time. Now this is something I can bring to you because I've used other box mods with other chipsets inside, so that startup when it's loading Voopoo and then the little Alpha Zip logo, like I showed you at the start of the video, that is a little bit slower than other chipsets on the market. So as well as it performs, that is going to be something worth mentioning. There is a slight delay on the load up. Next con for me is going to be the fact that despite it being a fairly decent sized mod, it doesn't fit anything bigger on top. I don't know how they could have improved that without taking away the size of it, but if you wanted a bigger atomizer on top, then it's not going to fit on here. Next con, I'm going to mention the fact that, as I say, that's a fingerprint magnet. Again, it's not a major issue, especially when most of the body isn't, but yeah, it's something to point out. By the way, I will point out, if you've seen it on the screen, I do still have the screen protector on this. You do get protectors on both sides. They came off quite quickly, but the screen protector's still on, so that's a pro. It looks a bit rough, but it's still there. And other than that, I'd say including the fit options is a con for me personally, simply because I don't think there's that much practical use to them, especially as pre-wattage modes that, to be honest, you're never really going to use. So yeah, we'll wrap it up there. We'll go into the overall now of this. And overall, the big question is going to be, is this better than a drag? And I'm going to say no. It's different. It's just as good as a drag. And I think that's the main thing about this. It's not necessarily meant to replace the drag. It's meant to be a different option. Now, I will say maybe it's a little bit too similar with the menu system and whatnot. That if you've got a drag too, it's going to be very familiar to you. But in terms of the device, in terms of the performance, the build quality, if you want something that's completely metallic, something that doesn't look like a drag, something that, I say, it performs excellently, comes with, as I said last week, a really good tank in the box, this is going to be a really good option for you, especially for the fact that it's priced cheaper than the Drag 2 Platinum is right now. I mean, I'm sure I've seen this about, it's probably early sales price, but about £50 for the kit, which is a really good deal for the quality of the device and the kit overall you're getting. So, would I recommend this? Absolutely. I absolutely would recommend this. It is different to the Drag 2, like I say, but if this is the sort of design you'd like over something as simple as a resin box mod, then I would highly recommend this. You're going to get some of the best performance out of a box mod on the market to date. So yeah, that was the Alpha Zip. Hope you enjoyed the video. Coming up this weekend, I'm hoping to bring you a juice review, finally. It's actually a really interesting review, so check that out. I'm hoping to finally bring that feature video to you guys, and then hopefully over the course of next week, I've got a few really interesting products to bring to you. So, as I always say, I really appreciate you watching. Thank you very much. Like the video if you like this. Subscribe if you haven't. Let me know your thoughts below. And as I always say, stay safe. And keep vaping.